Welcome to The One Thing, where each episode features our signature segment, Pandora's Box. We dive into hot topics that challenge the norm and ignite real conversation.
Inspired by Greek mythology, Pandora's Box isn't just about chaos. It's about truth, transformation and hope. That's what we bring to every conversation.
Have a cause or business that deserves to be seen? Want to be remembered forevermore? Be our next special guest. Contact us today at theonething@edgeradioaustralia.com.
And you're listening to The One Thing on Edge Radio Australia. Wherever you're listening or watching from, it's fantastic to have you here. And we're very excited about our guest today, Aaron.
We most definitely are.
We are missing our...
What's going on here?
We're missing Leanne.
Oh, come
she
on.
actually thinks that she can go on leave, not just for 1 week, but for 2.
I think she's on holidays about 50 weeks a year, roughly. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think you're right. Hopefully she'll join us online. She's not having too much of a good time. But today we're opening Pandora's box on faith, redemption, and finding purpose through pain. Well, we certainly know a little bit about that. But what it truly means to be a light in the darkness. This is a beautiful quote. There's nothing glamorous about street chaplaincy, but in those moments of helping someone in pain, you see God move and that light shines in the darkest places. And that's the words of our beautiful guest today, Scott Moore. I'd love to introduce him. Scott's story is a powerful testament to faith, redemption, and the courage to be a light in the darkness. Scott is a father of 3 and has been a Christian for 13 years. By day, Scott works as an aged care gardener, and by night, he serves as a street chaplain. He walks alongside the broken, the lonely, and the lost, bringing hope, prayer, and the love of Jesus to the city streets. Scott believes that street chaplaincy is where faith truly meets action, a humble calling that turns ordinary Christians into extraordinary servants. His journey reminds us that no matter how dark life becomes, light can always break through. Welcome, Scott. It's so lovely to have you here.
Glory to God. Thank you very much for having me here.
It's absolutely our pleasure, mate.
Yeah,
and what you do, and obviously we'll get you to explain it in more detail, but I love grassroots stuff. I love when people are actually doing the hard work that maybe doesn't. You're not going to get a gold logie for this, you know. There's not going to be an award show. You're not going to be, there on the red carpet. But you're actually doing something that's genuinely important to society. So thank you, mate.
Oh, you're very
and
welcome.
we've got some fantastic videos that we're going to play, which have actually been put out by the organisation that you work for. But before we dive into that, I'd love for you to share, how did you come to be on the show today?
How did I come to be on this show today? Well, I was invited by you to come onto this show today.
Yeah.
That makes it easy.
But a very special person actually.
Yeah, very special person.
Actually said that he thought that you should come on.
It was. So your son Jacob recommended me, a lovely young gentleman that I've been so blessed to meet and to know. Again, with that street chaplaincy, I don't know Jake.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a wonderful blessing to know him. And when he said that there was an opportunity to come on, speak about street chaplaincy, I jumped at it. I spoke with leadership and they gave me the tick of approval.
Cool.
And so here I am to speak
Great
about
to see you,
street chaplaincy.
Well, I think it's something that needs to be talked about because a lot of people aren't aware of it, and a lot of people live their lives. And this is not a criticism, but it's it's a little reality check of what's actually going on. There's a lot of people out there suffering, and certainly with the economic downturn, we'll call it that. I could call it a lot of other things over the last few years. It has pushed a lot more people onto the streets. It has really changed, I would think, certainly from my eyesight, from what I'm looking at, it seems to have changed the dynamic of people who are living really, really rough a lot. Can you kind of give me a bit of a rundown of the people we'll find on the streets now?
Just before we launch into that, would you mind if I played the video and then
Sure,
because that's going to really speak a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Do we need to put the headphones on so
look, if you want to have a listen, why not?
Yeah,
okay,
because
there we go.
be helpful for us if we're going to be speaking to it.
All right,
so
let's do that then.
All right, so I'll just pop the first one in.
Our street chaplains never know what they're going to face on each patrol, but will be caring for you when it matters. Street chaplains are ordinary people like you and I, mums, dads, brothers and sisters, who have answered the call to serve on the streets across Western Australia.
pray for us and the street chaplains as well.
Our chaplains are all volunteers who work in pairs and are equipped for most situations. Each chaplain is qualified in senior first aid and trained to face extraordinary circumstances, but the most important quality we have is the ability to listen.
There you go. The ability rather to listen, that's a statement in itself, because so much in life we have conversations and we don't really listen. What we do is prepare an answer, and to truly listen is something that we all need to embrace, I reckon.
Yeah, without doubt. And it's something that it's been a hard lesson for me, and a real learning as being a person in a previous life that was very opinionated, very prideful, very outspoken, and even in my early days of my faith, actually as well, being very outspoken, and now coming to this into this place where people don't necessarily want you to say anything.
Right.
They may not want you to speak at all. They just want someone to listen to them.
Yeah.
They need someone actually that cares for them and is there without any judgment, and just to be there for them to hear.
We have an alignment here.
Story is.
We have an alignment here. Edge is all about giving a voice to the everyday person, right? And it's the same thing, mate. Yeah, we're just doing it in different locations. And to be frank, you're doing the tougher route. So good on you for that. People need to be heard. People need to be listened to. And we've all gone through different experiences in life. A lot of us, very tough times. Just someone to just stand there and listen. That's a powerful thing.
Yeah. When you're doing street chaplaincy, though, and you can comment on this, there's a spiritual element involved, isn't there?
Oh, massively.
Yeah. So if you want to just explain that to people that might not understand.
At its heart, for me, it's spiritual in nature. So being a Christian ministry and non-denominational, we'll take Christians from all walks.
Okay.
Now that's going to give you people that won't lean into the spiritual side so much, and some that will 100%. But for me, what you're up against is something that the police will struggle with, that first responders will struggle with, that all the ways of the world will struggle with, because the thing that they're actually battling can only be confronted spiritually, actually. And so even the police that we deal with now, they'll comment on that. They will see things that they can't explain, and things and situations that'll be sort of nullified, or that will be eased when street chaplains come on board. And not because we're so special, it's because of what we actually represent.
Yeah. So it's the power of Jesus that's actually doing it.
100%, without a doubt about it.
Yeah, it's the Holy Spirit.
Yes, correct.
And
that's right.
Do people feel more comfortable talking to you because there's obviously talking to a copper, okay? Hey, I don't even like talking to a copper. Well, I've probably got good reason not to, but at the same time, if you're there and a lot of people are struggling with addictions, all of that, right? The pressure on them, and being homeless, you're so vulnerable. It'd be very hard for them to talk to, all of these people in all of these first responder kind of roles, I would tend to think. So it's a different role for you, and obviously with a spiritual backing, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And most people that we're going to interact with, they are not mindful of that nature. They don't see that at all. But we are well recognised on the streets amongst the sort of the homeless community. We're very well known. The Indigenous community, very well known.
Right.
And most people, and what will testify, I think, to maybe the spiritual nature of it is that people will watch their P's and Q's automatically, because they won't know why, but people will swear in front of you. Young and old, it's irrelevant. They'll see chaplain and they'll swear and they will immediately apologise. And it across the board, it's the funniest.
Wow.
They will universally. They will apologise for swearing.
Now, I'm smiling because this is true.
It just is that way.
Yeah, we all we kind of feel a bit naughty. Yeah.
It just happens. But now these same people will be swearing without any care in the world to one another, loudly in the street, to the police, to anybody.
Right.
But to a chaplain, something happens.
Right.
So and not because you can't swear around me or at me.
No.
But automatically.
It's
and
what
it's
you
universal.
represent.
Correct. 100%. And they may not understand it, but they will find themselves
Wow, you're giving me goosebumps.
asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, come on.
So do you pray with people? Is that how it works?
The nature of the ministry is not to evangelize, but on almost all accounts that will happen. So people will ask for prayer actively.
Right.
Sometimes there may be a situation where you may feel that it is required, and you can ask. Anyone that doesn't want you to pray for them, you're not going to pray for them, of course. But very regularly, you're going to have people that are going to say, "Can you please pray for me? Can you?" They'll tell you a story. Can you pray? And of course, we'll pray for you. Come on, of course.
Yeah. How do you find when you come across people who've had a bad experience with religion in the past? Straight out, right? Okay, went to Catholic school, right? Okay, that turns you off religion.
Yes.
Right? Full stop. So I'm certainly not alone on this one. A lot of us, and my spiritual journey has changed and ebbed and flowed, and as most people has.
Yeah.
But do you find that some people are have the walls up because of the religious aspect?
Sometimes yes, but it's generally only those who are identifying as atheists. There's two camps. So there's the religious herd, right, and then there is the atheist, that sort of that devout atheist. So they're two different camps. When you're dealing with the religious herd, that's very difficult to work with, because who am I to try to detract from what they've experienced? And it's not for me. And you really got to read the situation about the way you're going to engage with them. You love on them no matter how they engage with you. It's just one of those things that you can pray inwardly, and you can ask for direction in the encounter.
Sure.
But some of these people are very, very hurt. And but when you're dealing with the atheists, it's a different situation altogether. And I love it. I love to deal with the atheists,
right? Because
they're desperately lonely, I find, and they're desperately wanting for a connection. But they're dare I say it, there's a pride, there's an intellect that just stands in the way. It actually blocks God.
Gotcha.
God is such that he resists the proud, and only the humble can come to God. And it's a beautiful thing where that with intellect, you can't come to God with your intellect. And there's been one encounter particular I remember with a gentleman, and we spoke for some time. He's a lovely gentleman, right, and he said, "I'm an atheist." He was very clear about that.
Yep.
And as we sort of talked, and we went through this encounter speaking with him, and he actually said, I wish I had what you had." He said, "I wake some nights in a sweat, fearing death. I wake afraid and fearful."
Right.
Wow.
And I said, well, if Jesus was to talk to you, let's just say, if hypothetically, if Jesus was to speak to you, would you listen to him? And I waited for the outcome. Like time stood still waiting, and you could see him thinking. And he said, yes, I would. And as soon as he said that, it was almost, I just knew Jesus is going to talk to you. You feel like Jesus will talk to you. You
feel like going, gotcha.
No. Hang on. There's no gotcha. It's
No.
just because in that moment of humility.
He had faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had faith.
Yeah, correct. There was that moment of humility where he was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the only cure that I have for that you have, your condition is death. You have a condition as death. And the only cure for that is life, and that life is found in Jesus Christ.
That's a statement.
I feel like we'd not be giving service to actually just go back a little bit, because you haven't always been a Christian.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we'd love for you to share how that came about, and also how you came to be a street chaplain.
Yeah, of course. So I guess first it's me becoming a Christian. So I don't come from a religious family. There is no Christians in the family. I was very self-sufficient, come from a reasonably sort of average family. Parents divorced when I was 6, single mum, 3 kids. And I had created a character that was going to be safe and strong and protected. It was a prideful character, and I could fix all my problems. There was no problems about that at all. Until later in my life, I came up with a problem that I couldn't fix. So my father had dementia. I was estranged from my father.
Right.
And he'd split from his partner, and his partner messaged us and said, listen, I'm leaving your father. And by the way, your father has a really chronic health condition.
Oh, wow.
We're like, oh, okay. So I reconnect with my father. I start to sort of care for Dad, and not because I'm so good at this stage. It's just because we feel obliged.
I better say, it's a sense of duty, right?
It was just one of those things where, okay, I'm in. At this stage, I'm in. So I'm going to help Dad. And it got to the point where I was wearing me very thin. I couldn't really care for Dad properly because he was just very, very difficult. He had a Lewy body syndrome, so he had a form of dementia. It's very aggressive. Mobility's poor, memory's poor, speech is poor, everything's poor. And thank God I had a Christian gentleman that worked with me. He was a humble gentleman. You knew he was Christian not because he spoke about it, but by his actions. Mm-hmm. And this particular day, this was my day. This is orchestrated before time begins. This is my day.
Okay.
Where I'm speaking to him and I say, I don't know what to do anymore. Robert, I don't know what to do anymore. And he said, why don't you ask God to help? Now, what kind of thing is that to say? Why don't you ask God
to the end of yourself?
Well, I've got no other options here.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask God to help? Now, this is not like you're going to find this in theology school about how to make Christians, because why don't you ask God to help? Most people are going to go, this is ridiculous, but not on this day. On this day, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to ask God to help. Mm-hmm. So here I am in this nursery. I'm working there and I'm going to talk to God for the first time in my life. And so I decided I'm going to talk to God. And I say, God, if you'll help me with my father, keeping in mind this is not about me at all. This is just help me with my dad.
Yep.
If you'll help me with my father, I'll accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I'll even stop drinking. So here I am doing a deal with the living
you're
God.
Making quite a deal. I don't know. Don't negotiate too hard too early. I'm just saying.
I'm making a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, the thing was, that was it, done. Now, I didn't really understand what I'd done,
right?
But I was sincere as any man can be in doing this thing.
Okay.
That afternoon, I go to my father, who's normally quite incapacitated, can't move very well, can't speak very well. And I walk in to see my father, and here's my father walking around.
No way.
Yes, speaking clearly. And I am rocked. I am rocked. I am shocked. And I'm afraid, actually, because now I am seeing something that I can't explain.
Wow.
Yes. So now I have seen the miraculous. So, okay. So now I've seen something that I can't explain. So this is the first step. The next step is now I've got to talk to God. I have to. I'm obliged to.
Hey, I've opened the conversation here.
I'm obliged to, because now I've seen something I can't explain.
Yeah.
And so I leave my father's that night being shocked. And now I've got to talk to God. So I talk to God. Here I am for the second time. Now I'm going to talk to this God that now I know there's something here.
Yeah, yeah.
And as I'm driving, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this introspection of when you would sit and look at how do I feel? How am I now? Who am I or how am I? And I knew I had changed. Something had changed in me that I had no reference for.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
You just said, who am I, right? Okay. Do you feel like you'd actually changed as a human being? Like your identity had changed?
My identity had changed fundamentally, but I had no understanding about it because I'm not a Christian. Yep. I don't come from a Christian background. I don't have any theology. I don't know what's happened to me, but all I know is something has happened. And so now I have to walk out this, because how do you explain it? How do you say it?
Yeah, especially as a person of logic, right? You're going, hang on, this logically doesn't make sense, right? You know, like the old story of it, and let Jesus take the wheel. Like I've got friends in my life who are, they live their life by God, okay, and they just make big decisions. You know what? Jesus will take the wheel. I'll leave it to God. And I would, as a little bit of a control freak, I'd be thinking, no, don't. Because at the end of the day, I want my intellect to be controlling my destiny.
Yeah, of course.
But the best
How's
decision,
that working for you?
real well. So
I got the cure for you.
well, no, but my mind. But I am a person of faith, right? But I wasn't always. But there is a moment where you kind of make that decision of who am I? It's kind of where I'm going on.
Yeah.
And who am I going to allow to, pull the strings in my life?
Yeah.
Does it all have to come up from here, or can I let it come from someone else?
The transformation can only come from God. Is, in my opinion, the transformation that comes from a change of heart. This being born again. Being born again is that you are a new creation in Christ. Now I have no reference for that, but I have a new heart, which I have no reference for either. But all of a sudden I know I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue the same anymore. And now I have a heart for the offender. That was the biggest thing that changed, that was noticeable immediately. Was, say, if we all sit as a normal Australian family, we sit, we watch TV, and here is a news story about a drunk driver. He runs a red light and he kills 2 children in an accident.
Yep.
Now we are all justified, and the world has already gone, that guy. Yeah. They've already pointed the finger, the dirty finger. We are straight away, and we're justified. What are this guy? What are that guy? And now I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, that poor man. Now how do you make sense of that? Where all of a sudden now I'm sitting here watching the news, and now my heart, all I can think of is, all I can think of is that guy. Now that was the first real noticeable change in my life. Was
it's
that
interesting how you should how you say that. I'm just going to a little bit on a tangent because I sometimes think when people do stuff like that, particularly with their own families, and it wasn't deliberate, I think, oh my goodness, you can't punish them anymore. So why try?
Yeah, it's a
like,
thing that we do as a society. It's just
Yeah.
we're hardened to it, we're conditioned to it, and we're justified in it. This is the thing, in our natural state, without God, we are completely justified in it. You did wrong, and therefore we can do whatever we choose to do.
Would you? Okay, these are my words. Do you see the world more in 4D, than you did before?
No, I guess I just see it clearly.
Okay.
So it would be, and again, people could dispute that, but for me, it's once you see, you can't unsee.
But it might be the way that you're thinking. It might be just a case of interpretation. You might, in fact, see things in a like you've got another level. Like if you look at 4D like that.
It's the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
Sure.
Biblically would say that it's the Spirit of God in me that now has changed me to see things in a way that is not understood by the natural man at all.
Yeah. Well, where I'm going on this is, that scenario you're talking about.
Yep.
Now, that guy's gone through the stop sign, the red light, whatever, and killed those beautiful young kids, right? Horrible, horrific. Now, we all paint him as the perpetrator straight away, right?
Yep.
That's what society's taught us to do.
Yep.
Now, if you actually step back from a little bit and you think from a 4D point of view is the example I'm using, guess what? He may have had to do a triple shift. He may have fallen asleep at the wheel. He might be struggling at home. He might have a
he might have had a heart attack.
He could have had a heart attack. He might be going through a divorce. He might be fighting for his children. Yeah. There are all these things that could be happening. So he may not have just been lazy or fallen asleep.
Of course.
He could have. There's more to it.
But we want to do that because he may be a wretched drug addict. He may be a guy that beats his wife.
That's right.
He may be an absolute criminal, fully justified.
That's right.
And it's still my heart posture is the same. This is the thing, because that's what we want to do. We want to go, but maybe must be a reason, and then we can feel for him.
Yeah.
Whereas the love of God is a heart for those. It says, the Bible says that Jesus died for us while we were yet sinners. He died for us while we were his enemy. So as a Christian, as Christians, we are called to love our enemy. It's easy to love you guys. It's easy.
We're awesome.
Yeah, but to love your enemy is a different thing. And this one ties in the street chaplaincy. It's about the story of the Good Samaritan is a biblical story.
Okay.
Street chaplaincy is based on the Good Samaritan. And it is I love you because God loved you before I did. God loves you, therefore I love you. I love the things that God loves. And I therefore hate the things that God hates.
We've got a question coming up, but we'll have a little break. Back in just a tick. It's Edge Radio Australia. Part of the One Thing.
Is pain holding you back? Bowen Therapy with Panacea Healing can change that for you. It's never too late to recharge your health, career, or purpose. You have the power within yourself to change what no longer serves you, taking your life and health to another level. panaceahealing.com.au. You can do anything.
Edge Radio Australia, the One Thing. We are speaking to a gentleman here who's a street chaplain, mate. You are out there, you're doing the hard work, Scott, and we really appreciate that. And actually, little opportunity to say thank you to the other street chaplains who are doing this. Not just you, mate. Come on, you
it's definitely not just me.
But there's some wonderful people out there.
There really is. Yeah, there really is.
I've just
We have got a comment, but let's just look at this. Yeah,
I've just put a photograph up on the screen, if you wouldn't mind. If Scott can just tell us what that's about.
So that is me on my graduation day.
Hey.
Yeah. They took me in, a beautiful thing. Yeah. That's Dee. She's our state director.
Yep.
Lovely woman. And she's selfless in the ministry, completely selfless in the ministry. And
I've got a couple of other photographs to put up as well.
Oh,
no.
Look at that. Cheers. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah, look at that.
He's got the winter uniform now.
So how does somebody become a street chaplain?
Okay, so first is you must be a Christian. To be a part of Street Chaplains WA, you must be a Christian.
Okay.
And then from there, it's really a case of once you've decided that it's something that you would like to embark on, then you'll go through the training process. You'll do the relevant checks. We become first aid trained, so every street chaplain must be first aid qualified.
Right.
And really, it's for most Christians that are coming in, they're members of a church. They generally have a pastor that will sort of vouch for them,
Okay.
But again, it's really a case of you you coming in and going through that training process, there is sort of a vetting. And the
course.
beautiful thing about street chaplaincy is that if you come in with a heart posture that isn't in the right space, you will not stay.
Is that right?
No, you will not stay.
I can imagine.
No, you
I
won't.
can imagine that would be the case.
Yeah.
I'd like to play the next video before the comment, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll pop that up. You might need your headphones again, Scott.
Oh, let's plug in.
Trained to face extraordinary circumstances, but the most important quality we have is the ability to listen. Our chaplains are there on the front line every weekend of the year. It's more than a ministry, it's a calling. During the patrol, chaplains receive calls for assistance from police, CCTV and security to assist in crisis situations and pastoral care. Every patrol, we make a difference to someone's life. We come from a variety of churches to walk alongside the broken and love the lost. We have a strong alliance with the WA Police, St John's and many other services as we all work together to ensure your safety on the streets. We operate across Western Australia, from Kununurra in the north to Albany in the south. Every believer has a role to play, and ours is to take the gospel to the streets, not by evangelizing, but by our actions, being the Good Samaritans. Street chaplains, caring for you when it matters.
Great to see. Great to see. And good from my point of view, I didn't know that it went all through those areas as well. So all the way down to Albany. So we've got people in the streets, right throughout, well, Australia, the world, but obviously you're focused here in WA. Can I ask a couple of questions? And we've got a comment that I do want to jump to in a moment, though. Just before we do, what about when I did see blankets being put on people and that kind of thing? Is that something that you do a lot of?
That is very much par for the course.
Okay.
So giving out water, blankets, beanies, socks. With the rough sleeper population, there's a very sort of a set regular group of rough sleepers that you'll find in the active night precinct.
Okay.
They know us well, we know them well. So we're very, very fortunate to have a lot of providers, donations, and so we carry them. We always have, we go in twos.
Mm-hmm.
We have backpacks that have all of that sort of equipment, and we have a storeroom that we're able to go back to. So so it's one of those things that we don't, if you need it, we're going to provide it to you.
Wow.
That's
If
great.
you need it, we're going to provide everything that we can. We don't do money. We don't do food. We don't do money. We don't do food. Not in that capacity. It's sort of, it's really critical care, but blankets are really, really important. It's something that we give out. Something that we give out on almost every evening, without doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I had a moment a few years back where I actually, of all things, I was on a date. Okay, and I finished the date, and I've left the comedy club. Whatever. I leave the club, Brass Monkey. There we go.
Yeah.
Leaving the Brass Monkey, away we go. And as I walked out, there is an Aboriginal fella there on the ground, just in a little culvert, right? And he was asleep, but he's shivering, right? And it was just awful to see. Right? And I just had this moment where I thought, and to be frank, my life was kind of going through some really tough times but I just had a date with a pretty gorgeous girl. I've seen some comedy. It's all pretty good. And I just thought, oh my God, like this poor guy, and everybody's just walking past him like he just didn't exist.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably horrible. This was a pivotal moment for me and a change of my attitude. So I stepped into the little store there, and I thought I'd buy him a pie because it's warm. Anyway, they had nothing. So I bought him a pack of chocolate biscuits. It's the best thing I could come up with. Where I'm going on this is that I gave him the biscuits and sort of he was very appreciative. And I think he was very appreciative because he realised he actually mattered. Or maybe I'm over reading that, but he was over the top. He was just so full of love, right?
Yes. Yep.
And it led me to do something that, and again, I wasn't in the best situation at the time, but this isn't hard, okay? This is not hard. I went, the few days later, I went to the supermarket. I bought 2 loaves of bread. I bought 2 packets of ham, 2 packets of cheese, boom, 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 and I knocked up, 2 packets of so I don't know, I've spent under $10, right around $10, and I put together all those sandwiches in the Ziploc bags. I went out there and put them out there. Now I'm saying you can't put out food. No one does anything selflessly. I felt warm and fuzzy.
That's
I felt very good about it.
It's beautiful, Aaron.
But it was that man in that little culvert, right? Okay, and the appreciation he showed me for a pack of bickies. Was a massive moment in my life. Wow. And why that's why I have so much appreciation for what you're doing, because I've got a little tear going on. That's weird. I'm giving a ham and cheese sandwich. You're feeding a soul, and that's special.
Need both.
Yeah, and even different. And this is where through my journey of being a street chaplain, it's the transition between that feeling that you have, and that, because it's actually part of who we are in God's image, that humanity that we have, but we don't understand that transition between me feeling good for it, which is it's sometimes hard to differentiate, and then God being glorified through what I'm doing. So example, that I imagine that I make the ham sandwiches and I do the thing that you've done, and then I go and I do it, but no one ever knows that I did it. So imagine it, and then if you accelerate that to the grandest of gestures, you imagine like giving away $1 million and no one ever knew. No one ever knew it was you. Well, you never told anybody. And this is the transition between, like, for me personally, of actually loving that feeling, of loving that feeling of when you help, that feedback was something that I just loved it so very much. And now having to confront that in my walk with God, and that transition, because what happens when I give the sandwich to the person and they throw it back at me? And how am I prepared for that moment? That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful moment, actually. Okay. Yeah, the moment where it's not received shows you where you are at.
Wow, that's interesting thought. Well, good, because that is really interesting as far as like getting it thrown back at you. Because I get very angry. I mean, we talked about this, and I've just shared my story because we're talking about this, right? Yeah, of course. But the guy or the girl who goes and does that and then takes a selfie, that riles me up. I don't enjoy that at all, right?
And they may well be well intended too.
Yeah,
they really they may be. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. They may well be.
Just other people to
they may well be.
I suppose.
But you'll know where you are, and God is good. You will know where you are in the rejection, not in the acceptance. Yeah. When the water bottle gets thrown back at you, when you spend time with someone and you might spend hours with someone covered in vomit, passed out, it's hectic and it's messy. And the second that Uber's there, they're gone. You'll never know them again. You'll never see them again or speak to them again. And that moment of going, that was good. That moment was good.
Good on you.
When faced with the worst of it, that's when you know where you're at.
Okay. Did you want me to pull the questions
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, let's pull the questions up. I will go nice big screen, so have a look at that. All right. Now, look at this question. Now, this is from, shall I mention who this is from? It's from this a bit of celebrity.
Someone with the same name.
Yeah, look, a man who's known for his fashion sense. A fashionista, an icon, really, when it comes to hair. Jake Byfield. Mate, okay, if someone wanted to come to Jesus on the streets when you're patrolling, what would you pray with them?
Oh, if someone wanted to come to Jesus on the street, well, praise God. If someone wanted to come to Jesus on the streets, what would I pray with them? That for me, that I'm going to pray for a humble heart. I'm going to pray for their heart to humbly come before the Lord. Okay. It's not you see a lot of decisions for Jesus. You see a lot of things where people is kind of like, say this prayer after me. That's for me. I'm not one of those gentlemen. I'm not say this prayer after me and now somehow you'll know God. It doesn't work that way. No. With my testimony being an example of that. But if you want to know Jesus with your heart, if you want to know Jesus with your heart and you come humbly before Jesus, he will reveal himself to you. Okay. God is good like that. Yeah. And so for me, it's really about a case of, I mean, I can come up with I couldn't even say what I would pray. To be honest with you, what I would pray directly, I couldn't say. It would be this circumstantial. But if you search for truth
Mhm.
with all your heart and you don't care what the outcome is, this is the part. As long as you don't care what the outcome is, you'll find Jesus. There's a lot of truth seekers.
That is a tough bit, though, not caring about the outcome.
That's right, because we
It's
have
a
a
game
preconceived
changer.
outcome.
Yeah.
And I have friends and I love them dearly, and they know my testimony. They know I'm a Christian gentleman, and they are truth seekers.
Mm.
So they've done all the conspiracy stuff. And it's not about whether it's real or not, but I'm like, if you don't put Jesus where he belongs, all of your conspiracy stuff falls flat. It's all meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. Put Jesus where he belongs and everything makes sense. Everything, he is the piece of puzzle that without him, you do not understand the puzzle. You, as well-intended as you are,
Yep.
you think that you know, you'll surround yourself with people who know, and you'll be full of wisdom of the world, and you've missed the boat completely.
Mm.
There we go.
We've got a
Let's go to our
question
next comment
from
there.
Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. Rochelle says, how do you approach people who may not want help but clearly need it? And does compassion look like in those moments? What does compassion look like in those moments?
It's about respecting the person, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Yeah, it's not about us, and even if they really, really look like it. So one example, we had a gentleman only just recently, young guy, clearly intoxicated,
Okay.
Well-dressed gentleman, and you could tell he needed assistance of some description.
Okay.
And he just didn't want a bar of it. He didn't want anything to do with us whatsoever. And so I said to the team, I said, listen, let's just hang out.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to sort of stand there waiting. He's made it very clear, no, I don't want you here. Okay, no problem. And so we've moved on, and we just stayed and watched. And
Yep.
sure enough, it was only a matter of time. He was in a pool of vomit. He was in a pool of vomit. It was only a matter of time. And we waited, and he was okay. I mean, it happens in the streets of Northbridge very regularly.
Yeah,
He was okay.
Carry on.
But it was at that moment that I actually came back to him.
Okay.
I came back to him. I said, are you okay? Here's some water. And in that moment, he was thankful. In that moment, he knew that I wasn't there to badger him or to bother him,
Yep.
but I was still there. I never left. I was close by. We came back. Are you okay? I'm good, thank you. And he was genuinely thankful. So that would be how I would deal with that. You cannot force yourself upon people unless they are completely out of it, and they're in a dangerous situation, and they absolutely must be.
Is there a
assisted.
shortage of street chaplains?
I would happily have as many as we could get. Honestly, I want to say I couldn't speak to that as far as leadership, whether they would say that there is, but we are always actively looking for, and I think we would do 2 or 3 trainings. Courses a year, so there is a high attrition rate given the nature of the ministry.
Yeah.
Because it can be arduous to some given the hours that we operate. But honestly, if I could have 10 chaplains on the street of Northbridge, 10, 12, it would just be wonderful. It would be a wonderful thing, honestly.
On that front, you just said Northbridge. Obviously, that is a central, point for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people who are living really rough, living in their cars, in car parks around Perth.
Yeah.
A lot of people who have full-time jobs who are living
Correct,
in their cars.
yes.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Do you reach out for those people?
In my role in the ministry, it's strictly on the streets of Perth and Northbridge, strictly.
Yep.
So there are going to be street chaplains that are involved in so many different outreaches, because almost all of them are going to be members of churches.
Okay.
They'll most certainly be involved in different outreaches.
Yep.
But the street chaplains is really for the streets, strictly.
Makes sense.
So there'll be some of the ministry. So in Armidale, example, there'll be street chaplains there that will deal predominantly with homeless, like regular homeless people.
Okay.
And whether it's people that are sleeping in their car, they will know that the street chaplains are active. They'll know where to find them.
Okay.
And similarly, I think every Tuesday night, the street chaplains go down to go into the city, and they're part of a program where they're all the other service providers come together, and they can shower, wash their clothes. There's food provided, and the chaplains will be there also, just to sort of intermingle and get to meet and be there and minister to people.
Right. So sometimes you are very much the magic piece of Lego between maybe you've got the police involved sometimes, and there might be ambos. I noticed on those videos, you're someone that kind of greases the wheels a little bit.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's been so beautiful the way that we're now interacting with the police. It has gone from being maybe in the early days, well before I was a street chaplain, where I think it was sort of like, the police may have looked at the ministry and sort of thought, what are they going to do? To now, it is an integral part of what they do. We deal with them. It's a very wonderful relationship.
Okay.
We're part of their night briefing. and they will call us actively. They will call us and they'll deal with us.
All right.
Because they're humans as well,
Of course.
and probably for a lot of them, if they were out of uniform, they would want to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But when they're wearing that armor, they've got to act in a different role. I
It's
guess.
strictly procedural. They must work with inside what they're allowed to do.
Yes.
And other service providers on the streets as well. As street chaplains, we probably have the most flexibility of
Right.
any of the service providers on the streets of Northbridge, which is a beautiful thing. And because we're coming in with the love of God, this is how we come. And so situations on almost all counts, calm on almost all counts from my experience.
Sure.
It just changes the game.
Okay. Another question, and thank you, Jake, for this question as well. Is street chaplaincy ever dangerous? Do you have any stories?
I think that to say no wouldn't be being truthful, but I think it really comes down to your discernment. It comes down to reading situations. Now, of course, if I go and throw myself in between two men punching on, there is a chance I might get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Now, that's intentional or unintentional. But as far as have I ever felt afraid being a street chaplain? No.
That's
Would I
good
go
to
to
hear.
Northbridge in any other capacity? No. Northbridge is a wretched place. To be honest with you, it's a wretched place. But as a street chaplain, I do not walk in fear. And I go into situations that, I'll be honest with you, in the natural you would not do. We go into areas where you just would not go. And as a member of the general public, you probably wouldn't go either.
So many years ago, I know it's hard to believe, but I used to knock around in Northbridge and be a bit naughty. But it was a very different place, right? It was the nightclubs and the pubs and the carry-on, and I enjoyed my nightlife and that sort of thing. And it had a lot of vibrancy and a lot of life to it, a lot of fun. Doesn't seem to be that place anymore.
No.
I'm going to use my sort of political thoughts on this one. I think this is somewhere where the state government and also the city of Perth have to really step up. I think there's such a massive problem. There is areas there that can be used for housing, to house people who are living rough, okay? That can be done quite sensibly and economically, but I think it comes down to the fact that these people are not voting. And therefore they're not seen as important to those people in politics. So again, it comes in where your role is so damn important. But I think that those people in power need to step up. I think that Northbridge can be saved, and it can be the place it was sort of 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Where it was vibrant and fun. Yeah, there was a little bit of niggle here and there, but back in the day, it was the entertainment centre of Perth, right?
Yeah. I think from my experience personally, I don't think that anything has changed. I think it's changed only in the way that it looked, but the spirit behind it never changed.
Right.
That the politicians, in my opinion, are doing exactly what they're going to do. And this idea of that somehow that the politicians are going to make it better for us and are going to save us and are going to change things for us.
Yeah.
This is a lie. We believe that that's true, but we've actually been fed a lie. And so we think that because we vote that somehow they're different and it's going to give us a different option. But in reality, the spirit that is operating in Northbridge is the same spirit that always operated. Okay. It's the spirit of the world, and it's always been there. And what you'll find universally in those places is people with an empty space and they're trying to fill it. There's a void in their life and they are trying to fill it. And I was a gentleman that spent many, many nights in Northbridge. Okay. Looking to fill a void in a different life.
Yep.
I spent many, many days there, or many late nights there, doing the same things everyone else is doing. They are simply trying to fill a space that they don't understand.
Yeah.
A God-shaped space in their life, and some resist it to death, and some are desperately longing and looking. But the spirit of the world has not changed. It is the same. It's the spirit of Antichrist. It's the same spirit in Northbridge now that was there. And it's always this idea, we look back and go, fondly,
rose-coloured glasses.
but it'll be the same thing that's driving it. The same behaviours would have been happening then that are happening now. Obviously, the homelessness and the disadvantage is certainly getting much worse, but that is not an accident. That is by design. There is no doubt about it. It is happening exactly the way that it's supposed to, in my opinion.
I'm glad you've said that. I'm very glad. I will run a little bit more hope on the fact that if people do their research on their politicians, do your research on them, then there are changes that can be made.
Jake's asked, what do you have in the backpacks? Great question.
What do we have in the backpack? So we're always in teams of 2.
Mhm.
One backpack is strictly first aid.
Okay.
So as far as first aid goes, we are all first aid qualified.
Yep.
We'll have everything from bandages, Band-Aids, vomit bags, right through to Narcan and up to defibrillators. So God willing, we never have to use them, but they have been used
What's
before.
Narcan?
It will be a Narcan or a derivative, which is for opiate overdoses.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So we have it there for people. But yeah, across the board, the vomit bags get used probably the most. But yeah, the bags are very well stocked. The other bag will have everything from thongs to phone chargers,
Okay.
beanies, socks, you name it. What we can pack in that backpack is incredible.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Even a Bible. We even get Bibles sometimes. Though, in there, and you never know. Sometimes someone will ask. There'll be a rough slip and says, "Have you got a Bible?" So yeah, come on. Yeah.
So who actually funds it all?
That's a good question. That is a good question, and not a question I can necessarily answer. I
That's
think
okay.
it's done by private funding.
Right.
Churches most certainly. So we have great support from churches.
Mm.
Whether I know that we have partners, so we're certainly in partnership with the City of Perth, with the
Oh,
police.
well, the video, they had the screen come up before, didn't they?
Yes,
that last
yes,
video?
correct. But as far as funding
Yeah.
goes, that I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't answer that. That would be a question for the hierarchy of street chaplaincy.
Yeah.
But definitely we are more than happy to take donations. They are required.
Right.
That's what keeps the storeroom full. Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And does this service operate anywhere else in Australia or the world that you're aware of?
Okay, so I did a little bit of research because it wasn't something that I'd given much thought to before. So I did come across a group in Cairns that are doing it. I don't know if they're affiliated, but they look very similar. And I would dare say that they are operating under that same sort of structure.
Yeah.
You will find churches that will want to go it alone, and that's totally fine. So you'll actually get churches that will have a group of chaplains, if you will, and they'll want to do it. But I would say probably around the world, without doubt, there will be Christians hitting the streets of cities and doing what we're doing. Yeah.
Spreading the word.
Fantastic, mate. We've run out of time. We'll tell you what, we've covered a bit, haven't we? Which is
We
great.
sure have.
But I've still got questions, which is, so maybe we'll just keep going. No. I really appreciate you coming in.
You're very welcome indeed.
Yeah, and to open sort of some insight into this. And I really hope that people have watched this might just open their hearts a little bit and look at people who might not be doing it as easy as we. Even when your life feels like it's at rock bottom, even when things feel really tough in your world, guess what? There's people doing it tougher, right? Okay, and maybe it's time to maybe
Just
help out a
before
little
we
bit.
close, I'd like to ask, what would you recommend that people do when they walk past people that are rough sleeping?
Oh, say hello to them. Notice them. Notice them. Please notice them. And don't feel afraid to notice
Give
them.
food and drink?
That's going to be up to the person. But don't do it with pity. If
But
you're going, of course, hey, feel free to offer without any doubt about it. But I just know that for a lot of these people, they just are so grateful to be seen. It means a lot to them.
I've got a question I'm going to ask,
Sure.
and I'm going to ask it because I know it's on a lot of people's minds. A lot of these people are begging for money. Well, not a lot, that's not true, but some people are begging for money.
Yep.
And I'm hesitant to give them money because I don't know whether that's going to fuel an addiction.
Yep.
So what would you recommend? Do you go and get a voucher, or even you can buy stuff with vouchers as well?
Again, it's one of those things for me.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Because you don't want to be judgy, but then you don't want to be.
As soon as I give you money and I've made a decision about what you should or shouldn't spend the money on, I've made a judgment call already.
Of course.
And so that I look at it this way, that sometimes that I might give you that $10 and you might use that $10 to go buy a bottle of wine. And that might have stopped you from committing a crime. Now, again, it's about what people choose to do with their free time is their decision. But I would dare say do it with an open heart and do it not to be seen. Do it as lean into it. Have faith, if you will, lean into that, you know. But yeah, you really need to use your discernment. It's hard, and again, it's one of those things that people are going to have to make a decision. But it's very common to go, "I'll give you this money, but you better not spend it on this," and then proceed to go to Dan Murphy's and buy their beer, and you know. And it's
Well, I had an experience only about 2 weeks ago, which I thought was hilarious. Outside the supermarket, there's a guy who's sleeping rough, and I said g'day to him on the way past, right? And just hello, and just a couple of words of exchange. He goes, "Oh mate, dying for a Dare Ice coffee. You know, the one with the brown lid?
Yeah, go on.
And he was so specific about the brown lid. So I'm like, no worries, mate.
Yeah,
okay, I'll grab one for you.
Hint taken.
Yeah. And good on him too, because I got one for myself. All good.
Yeah.
And did my shopping, came around and gave him the thing. But he was so specific about it, put a big smile on my face.
It's a great example.
Yeah.
It's a great example.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
for
very
being
welcome.
part.
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming
It's
on.
been wonderful.
That's brilliant. Thanks for being part of The One Thing here at Edge Radio Australia.
Ever felt lost online finding the right businesses?
Absolutely, like a needle in a haystack.
Introducing the Worldwide Awake Business Directory.
Tell me more.
It's your hub for businesses sharing your values. Discover eco-friendly products, socially responsible services, and more.
Count me in. I'll check it out straight away.
Find businesses aligned with your values on the Worldwide Awake Business Directory. Start making a difference with every purchase.